Have you heard of BFDI? You probably have. You probably heard of Reddit as well, but have you heard of r/battle for the island? Whether you have or not, I decided to make an iceberg of it, since I'm an object horror fan and a Redditor, meaning I have no life, so I have time for this stuff, and I want more people to know about this subreddit. I decided to split this big formation of ice into 6 layers for no particular reason. If you already know the subreddit, you can probably skip the first 2 layers since they are mostly filled with general knowledge of it. But nonetheless, let's melt our way into the elimination. First things first, flares. For users and for posts. As of now, you can pick any contestant, host, some algebraicness, non-existent, evil leafy, or profile as your user flare. For post flares, there are all of this, some of which I'll talk about later. And later may as well mean right now, since memes are something I have to talk about. Memes can be in a lot of different forms, and it's not surprising that they make up a huge amount of the subs post in general. Another important flair is art, since a lot of talented artists post their art on this subreddit. Can't forget tiers either, another really popular format used to show your opinion on anything by ranking it along other items in the same category. And character tiers are probably the most usual ones. Another type of tiers that were popular not a really long time ago are ship tiers, which respectively rank the ships of BFDI characters. Also, the most popular template for this has a ship of X and Evil Leafy. Alright? Unlike the BFDI wiki, the subreddit is actually official as it is owned by Michael himself, and Carrie is one of the mods as well. Posts about hackers are quite common in the sub. Speaking of posts, some of them can be considered inappropriate, despite the fifth rule saying no NSFW. Although, the said rule isn't really strict and only bans the really inappropriate stuff. Another popular type of post is what I like to call fill-in votings. That is when there's a chat of certain descriptions and for each of them people vote on which character fits it. Talking about posts again, I'd like to show you the most uploaded post on this subreddit. It's a screenshot of the season 1 intro with text to it saying, like if you have committed several war crimes in Turkmenistan or you love BFDI. Although, I don't think there are any war crimes committed to Turkmenistan yet. Nonetheless, I'll talk about war crimes later. Controversies happen a lot in the subreddit, mostly under posts with the discussion flair. What I call crackpots are really weird posts that make you think what the hell as we move on to the next layer. This layer is mostly about other BFDI related subreddits, the most notable being r/OK by the BFDI. Basically, it's like r/battle for the island but extremely hard and correct, with a lot of dark, inappropriate, and weird memes. Another one I'd like to note is r/BFDI dedicated to the usage of BFDIs in other media. Remember that one BFDI mouse is everywhere short? r/BFDI voting is another subreddit about, you guessed it, BFDI votings. Votings like this also used to be popular on the main subreddit, usually being in object show-like format, where contestants are split in teams, then some of them win and the team after elimination receives votes from viewers. A lot of people got sick of such stuff, therefore they were moved to their own subreddit. There are other smaller BFDI related subreddits too, but I won't talk about each one of them, since they are not really notable and some of them are weird. Can't forget about other subreddits related to object shows, but not BFDI in particular, r/object shows and r/domain sanity being the most known ones. The last thing in this layer that I would like to talk about is the Smart 3 meme, which was a really popular meme in the subreddit, revolving around a frame from tpot 2 of 3 being smug. A lot of people posted other smug characters as well as made memes about the original 3 version. Heck, even I did! The term smugly takeover was also suggested to iceberg by u/Yepper patient to describe this whole situation. Did I just accidentally rhyme? This subreddit is really freaking old, being created back in 2012. This is what I meant when I talked about war crimes. War crime memes were really popular a long time ago, and a lot of them are one of the most popular posts of all time. The music player is probably the least used one on the subreddit. I think I've seen a post with it once. The reason this isn't deeper in the iceberg is because you can just sort posts by flares and find music posts quite easily. Speaking of flares again, I'd like to mention the flare update. The most recent flare update was like a month ago and it hosts and a few algebra elements. Why is this point so deep in the iceberg though? Well, that's because I don't really know what flares used to be like before BFB was released. But maybe someone watching this video knows? Please tell me in the comments if you do. The subreddit gets a post every time a new BFDI episode gets released. What you may notice is that most of them are made by Mr. Twister, Kara's friend and the person who got second place in WoW. Just a fun fact. Okay, I've already talked about other subreddits, but this one specifically weirds me out. I don't understand why it exists in the first place. It's like an at-home version of the main subreddit. I guess the point is that it's fan-made, not official like the main subreddit, but I don't really get it. What if someone had a WhatsApp? It's a recent meme which is often really inappropriate. Karma farms are posts that are really easy to make, yet they often get a lot of upvotes, giving OPs the Reddit karma. Most usual post formats often called karma farms are "Who is this?", "Wrong answers only", "Type something and let autocorrect do the job", posts directly asking you to upload them, and sometimes tier lists or character AI stuff. Speaking of character AI, we have another trend called 9 months later. Did you ever want to make BFDI characters give birth? If for some goddamn freaking reason you answered yes, just type 9 months later to a character AI chatbot. I really don't want to talk about it any further. A term in a certain way similar to camera farms is brain rot. It can also be attributed to various trends that don't take much effort to make, although I'd say this is a significantly less offensive term than camera farms, as it's usually used in a more ironic manner. An old trend suggested to this either by u/fan of Lex is the Antlers meme, which is itself based on Deltarune meme. It is most usually, although not always, centered around Lai. For some reason, the Fable ship, which is Fanny X Bubble, was really popular on the subreddit some time ago. Unsurprisingly, a lot of people got annoyed by it, and that caused them to hate it, which is what I call the Fable War. Ships are a quite controversial theme in general, but if you ask my opinion, I think that you can ship any characters as long as you don't hurt other people. Please don't use this statement against me. Someone makeout session is also a recent trend, which is, how do I explain this? I'll just show you a few examples and hope that you won't be mad at me for that. So, it's time for the finale, most obscure and in my opinion the best layer of this iceberg. First thing I'd like to discuss is the sim codes. The one I remember the most is the huge amount of folded sims around tpot 2's release. This is extremely surprising considering how forgotten folded seems to be nowadays. Yes, after IDFB1, characters were actually recommended through the subreddit. The most notable characters who were recommended back then are Nineball, Anigiri, and Avocado, who later became possible debuters in tpot. Despite being originally recommended for IDFB2, they, alongside a lot of other characters, appeared in BFB2, since, you know, IDFB2 didn't happen, at least not yet. Okay, this video is already more NSFW than I'd like it to be, but since it was suggested to this other by user controller scout, I guess I have to add it. Apparently, there's a bunch of people who use NSFW display names with BFDI characters. I've always wondered what the first post on the subreddit was. Someone else wanted to know it, therefore they made a question post about it and even Kerry himself replied to it, saying that he unfortunately doesn't know. I guess this remains one of the humanity's greatest mysteries. But one reply to that post was quite shocking to me, and it leads us to the penultimate point of this iceberg. Yes, the subreddit was hacked. After doing some research through Reddit, I figured out that the sub was created by someone under the username Mickman27, who is also the final point of this iceberg. And his page shows that he was in fact hacked by someone named Team Fiery Freakers. This team also has a Twitter account, with its latest post being released in 2016. This is probably the most obscure thing that could ever exist about this subreddit, and that is why this was the finale of this iceberg. Well, there you have it, that's the game. I really hope you liked this video. It took some time to make, and due to this, a few new trends appeared on the subreddit, most notably whatever the hell this is. But I don't have anything more to say, so I guess visit the subreddit and like and subscribe if you want to. Goodbye.